Honorable Justice O'Connor presiding.
We will now hear argument in the case of Kelo versus New London.
Justice O'Connor, and may it please the court, this case is about whether there are any limits on eminent domain under the public use requirement of the Fifth Amendment. Every home, church, or corner store would produce more tax revenue and jobs if it were a Costco, a shopping mall, or a private office building. If that's the justification for the use, then any city can take property anywhere within its borders for any use that might make more money than what is there now.
Mr. Bullock, you are leaving out that New London was in a depressed economic condition. The critical fact on the city side is that they wanted to build it up, get more jobs.
Every city would like more tax revenue.
But you concede that on the fact, more than tax revenue was at stake.
The city wants to improve the economy through tax revenue and jobs. But that cannot be a justification for the use of eminent domain. Can you take a Motel 6 and give it to a fancier hotel? Their answer is yes. The one thing that all poor neighborhoods share is that they don't produce much tax revenue. If the court affirms the lower court's decision, then you would put poor neighborhoods and working class neighborhoods like Fort Trumbull in jeopardy.
Ask Mom. Christina, then. Okay, I don't care who does it. I just can't do it. Oh. I'm getting on the elevator. Okay, you're cutting out. Bye.
Me encanta.
No, mijo, ¿cómo con pasas?
Mario, el picadillo lleva pasas y aceituna. Ya.
No, mijo, ¿cómo va a ser? Las pasas lo echan a perder.
Déjame decirte a ti lo que yo me comería esta noche.
Nah, yo no. Las gringas son terribles en la cama.
Bueno, te lo pierdes tú. Have a good weekend, miss.
Sin las pasas, no se puede llamar picadillo.
I'm not a real estate broker, and the reason why I'm not a real estate broker is because I never had an interest in buying or selling houses. My interest was always in managing vacation rental properties. The officer I spoke with explained to me that I was violating real estate commission laws, and I hung up from that call and almost couldn't breathe. I really didn't understand how it could be that little old me, managing 5 properties, had incurred the wrath of the state. I find it absurd that in order to keep running my own business, the state of Pennsylvania is requiring me to open my own office in Pennsylvania, pass 2 exams, and spend 3 years working for an established broker.
Hello. So that's why I'm here. I wanted to talk to you about the exciting new development.
I strongly suggest that you sell.
Well, what happened to this area is just unbelievable, and we are so excited to be a part of it. I think you're going to be excited too once you see what the possibilities are in your neighborhood.
Look, if you wait, we may not be able to offer you market value, which is what you'd get right now. This check allows us to option your property for purchase.
Please contact an NLDC representative at your earliest. Are you listening?
Founded on the belief that stories can change the world, the Moving Picture Institute creates and supports outstanding stories about human freedom, Both a modern media production house and talent incubator, we tell stories that start conversations,
challenge the unchallengeable,
and breathe life into ideals, such as human rights, free expression, quality education for all, and resistance to tyranny. But we're not always so serious.
When you give these monsters an audience, it only encourages them. You're fake news! Fake news!
We write and produce a wide range of films, which screen at top festivals and win major industry awards. Our MPI masterclasses, one-on-one mentoring, and hands-on training guide filmmakers as they launch their careers.
Get a light, put it right next to this window,
and go on to win top industry honors. Our highly competitive internship program gives aspiring, freedom-minded filmmakers a foot in the door by placing them at major Hollywood production companies and studios. MPI films reach millions around the globe in theaters, on television, and online. These do more than entertain. They also spark debate about some of the most important issues facing us today. MPI films remind us what freedom is and why it matters. MPI films are changing our world.
Good evening. A quarter century of American involvement in South Vietnam is over. At mid-afternoon, Saigon time, an armada of 81 U.S. Marine helicopters descended on the South Vietnamese capital. More than 6,000 persons, as many as 900 of them Americans, the rest Vietnamese and third country nationals, were evacuated. Plucked from the U.S. Embassy grounds, from rooftops throughout the city, and from the nearby Ton Son Nhut Airport.
Saying, oh my God, we'll be the 4 gay guys in the front. Please call us this or call us that. Have guys come up to me on the street and say, hey, call my friend and call him this, or call my wife and call her the C word. She loves you. Because I've had handicapped people come up to me or write me letters saying, I think it's bullshit that you don't make fun of us. Like, we can't take a joke.
The race to be the most outraged is really, really awful stuff. But you're not going to be talking about this in 20 years. Yeah, this will be completely fixed. And we have to scream at it and stand on the mountaintops and have no fear and yell, you cannot put a chilling effect on their freedom of speech. But oh, by the way, keep in mind while we're doing this that we're going to win.
there was a mountaintop where there dwelled 1,000 ants. One day, the top of the mountain caught on fire. Those ants who volunteered to be on the outside were hurt, but the inside ones survived.
Start it up. No, no, no.
Oh, God! Oh, my God! Oh, my God! Oh, no.
Standing right there. Don't you see that?
No.
Suzette, come on down from there.
No.
I miss my father every day of my life. But I'm sure he's looking after me and after all those that are following and fighting on the same path that he opened for us. There is nothing worse they can do to me. What that they can do is take our bodies, but they cannot silence us. Leadership is a consequence of what I do. We're going to work and we're going to transform Cuba.
At first, man was enslaved by the gods, but he broke their chains. Then he was enslaved by the kings, but he broke their chains. He was enslaved by his birth, by his kin, by his race, but he broke their chains. He declared to all his brothers that a man has rights which neither God, nor king, nor other men can take away from him. For this is the right of man, and there is no right on earth above this right. And he stood on the threshold of the freedom for which blood of the centuries had been spilt. But then he gave up all he had won, and fell lower than his savage beginning. What brought it to pass? What disaster took their reason away from men? What whiplashed them to their knees in shame and submission? The worship of the word we. When men accepted that worship, the structure of centuries collapsed about them. The structure whose every beam had come from the thought of some one man, each in his day down the ages, from the depth of some one spirit, such spirit as existed for its own sake. Those eager to obey, eager to live for one another, since they had nothing to vindicate them, those men could neither carry on nor preserve what they had received. Thus did all thought, all science, all wisdom perish on earth. Thus did men, with nothing to offer save their great number, lose the steel towers, the flying ships, the power wires, all the things they had not created and could never keep. Perhaps some men had been born with the mind and the courage to recover these things which were lost. Perhaps they came before the Council of Scholars. They were answered as I have been, and for the same reasons. But still I wonder how it was possible in those graceless years of transition, long ago, that men did not see whither they were going and went on, in blindness and cowardice to their fate. I wonder, for it is hard for me to conceive how men who knew the word I could give it up and not know what they lost. But such has been the story, for I have lived in the city of the damned, and I know what horror men permitted to be brought upon them. Perhaps, in those days, there were a few among men, a few of clear sight and clean soul, who refused to surrender that word. What agony must have been theirs before that which they saw coming and could not stop it? These few fought a hopeless battle, and they perished with their banners smeared by their own blood, and they chose to perish, for they knew. To them I send my salute across the centuries, and my pity. Theirs is the banner in my hand, and I wish I had the power to tell them that the despair of their hearts was not to be final, and their night was not without hope. For the battle they lost can never be lost, for that which they died to save can never perish. Through all the darkness, through all the shame of which men are capable, the spirit of man will remain on this earth. It may sleep, but it will awaken. It may wear chains, but it will break through, and man will go on. Man, not men. Here, on this mountain, I and my sons and my chosen friends shall build our new land and our fort, and it will become as the heart of the earth, lost and hidden at first, but beating louder each day, and word of it will reach every corner of the earth. And the roads of the world will become as veins, which will carry the best of the world's blood to my threshold. The day will come when I shall break all the chains of the earth and raise the cities of the enslaved. My home will become the capital of a world where each man will be free to exist for his own sake. For the coming of that day shall I fight, I and my sons and my chosen friends, for the freedom of man, for his rights, for his life, for his honor, for the freedom of man, for his rights, for his life, for his honor. And here, over the portals of my fort, I shall cut the word which is to be my beacon and my banner, the word which will not die should we all perish in battle, the word which can never die on this earth. For it is the heart of it, and the meaning, and the glory.
¿Quieres una maleta? Ya tú búscatela.
Hello. Can I help you?
Yes, I'm looking for an ignition coil.
Shit.
He was convicted for using four-letter words in a comedy club in Greenwich Village after midnight.
A, B, and C, and we're going to enforce the rule.
Lenny Bruce is at the end of his rope. They're about to foreclose on his home. He doesn't have any money. He can't get a job anywhere because of all these obscenity prosecutions.
Dirty Lenny in here. Dirty Lenny is going on soon. A pornographer.
He's got a pretty serious drug problem and a pretty serious depression problem. You mix them all together, you know, what happens?
Lenny Bruce died of a drug overdose on August 3rd, 1966. He was 40 years old.
All alone, I'll be rich, but so all alone.
But within a year after his death, this great phoenix rises.
Thank you for tuning in to CNNBC Los Angeles and our special broadcast of America's Purge. I'm Gene Shepard.
Editing is one of the most important parts of making a film. An editor's job is to make thousands, if not tens of thousands of decisions.
And then figure out the story that you want to tell.
Welcome to the Moving Picture Institute and Smock Media's editing seminar, The Mindful Editor. We're trying to help our filmmakers learn how to create empathetic stories and hit target demographics with really captivating storytelling.
You're building a puzzle to really bring out the emotion of the story.
The emotion that comes through in the final film is up to the editor.
This year, we've had top-level editors, as well as the director of the seminar, Hawk Jensen, who's worked in documentary films and in editing for almost 2 decades.
Welcome to Mindful Editor 2.0. All eyes are on me right now because of this spotlight. Your eyes have to respond to the stimuli.
When we arrived at the funeral, there was a huge crowd there. The people came together with a lot of sadness, but also this feeling of pride for my father.
Con la esperanza de que tu hijo Osvaldo vive ya en tu compañía.
All the movement was there, all the opposition was there. My mother was broken, but she was very strong.
El amor sin límites a Cuba de Osvaldo.
I was thinking, this is not enough. We have to do more, we have to say more. I asked for time to speak.
Sobre la violenta muerte de mi papá.
I talk about his trust in the Cuban people and his certainty for Cuban liberation. And then I put on the Cuban government the responsibility for the death of my father. The people start to clap and start to scream freedom and liberty. They knew they were being watched, that the state security was there. It was a moment of unity.
This is America, the home of the free, isn't it?
Two most important things: social justice and economic development.